Education is the backbone of any nation, and its impact is felt for generations to come. As South Africa strives to enhance its education sector, it's essential to recognize the significance of effective learning and the role of technology in driving that process. So in this dynamic landscape, it is crucial to explore the intersection of technology, community, and education at large, and also to harness their combined power to create a brighter future for all. So to discuss further about the evolution of education, the founder and CEO of Edge Education, Dr. Andrew Hibling, now joins us virtually. Dr. Andrew, good morning. Thanks for your time on the SABC at this hour.
Good morning to you.
It's a chilly start to the morning. Perhaps it's warm on your end, but perhaps as we get crack-a-lacking on the state of education in South Africa, the sector at large, the vision, the current goal, given where the world is moving, this fourth industrial revolution, what are you observing from your vantage point?
I think the position that we're in at the moment is we're really looking at, obviously, education as a vehicle for societal change. And undoubtedly, there's a relationship between the number of graduates or the highest level of education attained in a country and then the GDP of that country. And obviously, GDP is a proxy for, for prosperity and for I suppose, just a way of life for a country. And that really means that prosperity is a function of the number of graduates that we have in this country. And the number of graduates is then a function of two things. It's a function of the number of enrollments that we have in higher education institutions, but then also a function of the success rate. So we've done actually very, very well from an enrollment perspective. We are aiming for around about 1.6 million enrollments. That's according to the National Development Plan. And we're currently at about 1.1 million graduates, but that's all very well and good. But if nobody is, 1.1 million enrollments, but if nobody is graduating, then that's a problem. Now, in South Africa, currently the graduation rate, which is defined as the number of students that pass in the specified period, so for a 3-year degree, the number of people that are passing in that 3 years is around about 22%. So yes, as you go into your 4th, 5th, and 6th year, more students are passing in that extra time, and that does get us up to around about 56%. But nevertheless, it's still 22% in that first year, and that is a problem because it's people at the end of the day. The purpose of higher education ultimately is to deliver people into the workplace, to deliver talent into the workforce.
No, absolutely. And speaking about that future labor force and even our global competitiveness as a country at large, given the skills the graduates are as well, we need to also look at the role of technology, perhaps how that could be used to drive progress in education at this juncture and the significance of effective learning in the education sector at large.
100%. And I mean, we've seen a massive evolution. Educational technology is huge. There's numerous people doing fantastic work. It's a huge industry in and of itself. But it's up to this point, it's largely been around tooling up. So there's been like new learning management systems. There's a lot of technology that's been deployed. But what we're potentially seeing is a sort of return to our roots with technology, in that it's allowing us to go from a mechanism of industrialized education where we had a sage on the stage, that was the lecturer, and they sort of imparted information to the many, the class over here, where our natural way to learn is in fact more community driven, more sort of over the shoulder learning, as I heard somebody quote it the other day. And technology sort of paradoxically is actually allowing us to go back to that situation where you learn through inquiry, you learn through your community. I mean, you can imagine sort of 10,000 years ago, you went hunting maybe, or you went gathering and you were observing and you were listening and you were watching, and then you came back to your community and you discussed that with your peers, your friends, you discussed it with the elders, and through that mechanism, you sort of constructed knowledge collaboratively and within your community. And that really is a mechanism to drive those enrollments that I was talking about, but also a mechanism to drive that success that we're looking for.
And speaking of which, I mean, it's important to strike a balance between leveraging technology as a supportive tool, but not forgetting that human touch is essential in education, because we do learn through those mechanisms as well. And you did allude to that. Perhaps also looking at technology as a means to advance us, but not to replace humans at large? I know that there are some questions for the 21st century on that front. Talk to us a little bit more about what that future is going to look like, and then the role of humans then in relation to technology.
Yeah, we're in this age of AI. We're in a world of ubiquitous information, and I think we should be doubling down on being human. There's going to be so many different tasks that AI can perform, and whether you're a student or you're in the workplace or you're at home, everybody is using AI for multitude of tasks, from very simple things to far more complex things. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be more important to double down on those human skills, communication in particular. It's all very well learning history or learning maths, but if you can't communicate in the world, that's a kind of obstruction. It's an obstacle, and it goes to this sort of concept people talk about of graduate attributes. So at the end of your degree or diploma or your higher certificate that you're doing, what do you want that student to be? It's a concept or continuum of knowing, doing, being. So you need to know certain things, you need to be able to do certain things, but you need to be able to be a certain way. And that's really, I think, going to be of the utmost importance in the 21st century. And it's things like critical thinking, understanding, problem solving, empathy, all of these kind of things are going to be critically important. And it's interesting because then in the provision of that education, that's where the institutions also need to focus. It's not just about providing academic support, it's about providing social support, economic support, about sort of leveraging that human sort of condition or function.
No, absolutely. We're human beings, not human doings. And thank you for sharing that, because I actually then wanted to just very quickly delve into some of the teaching methods, the curriculum at large, the teacher training, the consciousness shift, the mindset shift that needs to occur along the value chain going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a change management exercise, and whenever it's such a looming force that society experiences, and AI is certainly that. Obviously, people are fearful; they're afraid. What does that mean for me? What does that mean for my daily job? What does that mean for what I've spent my last 40 years of my life doing? And I think it's like with most technology changes, it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to be replaced. It's a case of we have to adapt in terms of what we do. I mean, we talk about AI, and I'm sure you've heard this, it's not about being replaced by AI, but it's about being replaced by somebody that knows AI. And we need to lean into it, I think. And as institutions, from a training perspective, we also need to lean into that methodology. And it's something that people do. And I think it's something that should come naturally to people. It's just people need that support in terms of what it is that they've always done. And from a teaching perspective, I think it's really about looking at the different tasks that people have in a day and looking at what can be automated.
Yeah.
So if you take sort of marking exams, for argument's sake, every teacher hates marking exams, but that is something that could be automated. So rather spending your time marking exams, spend your time diagnosing where that student's at, what problems they're having, where they are in the curriculum. And, we talk about the kind of the holes in the curriculum, sort of, like a Jenga tower, kind of where those gaps are.
Dr. Andrew, I'm going to have to come in there and leave the conversation as well at this hour. But thank you for your time. I know that there are more questions and answers, but thank you for being part of this conversation. Perhaps it's a conversation starter for many more to come. Founder and CEO of Edge Education, Dr. Andrew Hibling, talking to us about the topic. It's called Beyond Tooling Up with Technology, Evolving Education Within the Digital Era. Thank you again to him for joining us at this hour.